Do you remember Ray Epps? He's one of the stranger figures from the January 6th saga. He was the guy who was caught on camera not only participating in, but actually leading the riot into the Capitol.
Tomorrow, we need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol.
Pretty weird behavior. A lot of people thought it was weird at the time. You can actually hear them in the first part of that clip. They're chanting, Fed, Fed, Fed. He's saying, go and storm the Capitol. And they're saying, no, don't storm the Capitol. This guy's a Fed. Don't listen to him. Things then got even weirder because after the riot, as federal agents began locking up Midwestern dads and Trump-supporting grandmas for getting a little too rowdy in the Capitol rotunda, the guy caught on tape inciting the riot was never arrested. Well, now things have gotten even weirder because the New York Times has just published a glowing puff piece on him. The article is by Adam Goldman, who was a major propagandist for the FBI-led Russia hoax. Now, he writes, quote, Ray Epps has suffered enormously in the past 10 months as right-wing media figures and Republican politicians have baselessly described him as a covert government agent who helped to instigate the attack on the Capitol last year. He goes on. During the event, he was videotaped by a right-wing provocateur encouraging people to go inside the Capitol on January 6th in what he described, even at the time, as a form of peaceful protest. But they're defending. According to the New York Times, every single person who was anywhere near the Capitol on January 6th is an insurrectionist and a terrorist that almost overthrew our sacred democracy, except for the guy who incited the people to go in there. He's apparently a great guy for some reason, and we should all stop calling him a Fed. That's what the New York Times wants me to believe. I don't know if Ray Epps is a Fed or not, but I do know that a New York Times puff piece is not helping his case. Right now, go to epicwill.com, use code Knowles. For all of you adventurous spirits out there, I've got an interesting little tidbit for you. Did you know that 100% of people who skydive will die? Did you know that? Did you know that 100% of people who breathe will die? It is going to happen, baby. No one here gets out alive, whether you die jumping out of an airplane or whether you die quietly in your sleep 100 years from now. Either way, you need to have a will in place, and you need to do it now. A will is the easiest thing to put off forever until it's too late. But a will is not just about you. It's about your loved ones. It's about the decisions that they will face if something happens to you. It's about what's going to happen to your stuff. It's about what's going to happen to your kids. It's about what's going to happen at your funeral. You just need to get this stuff taken care of. Be a responsible adult. Do the right thing by your family. Go to epicwill.com. Use promo code Knowles, Knowles, to save 10% on Epic Will's complete will package. Epic Will can set you up with a will in as little as 5 minutes. Super easy, well worth the $119 to secure your family's future. Without a will, you may as well wrap up all that money and assets and hand it over to the state, because that is what will happen when you die. No matter where you are in life, you need a will. Go to epicwill.com, use code Knowles today. The propaganda is going into overdrive. This puff piece on Ray Epps is particularly ridiculous from the New York Times. It's particularly shameless that they tell us all for a year and a half now that anyone who even thought about going to Washington, D.C. at all on January 6th is a horrible terrorist who should be sent to Gitmo, except for the dude who told everyone to go into the Capitol. He's a poor put-upon man. He's a victim. Please stop calling him a Fed. But it's not just on Trump. It's not just on January 6th. It's not even just against the Republicans. You're seeing this propaganda throughout our political process, especially when it comes to COVID. So Dr. Fauci, he's making the rounds again. What did I tell you? You know I hate to say I told you so. I told you when Dr. Fauci went into hiding, coincidentally, right around the time that my documentary, Fauci Unmasked, came out, coincidentally, right around the time that the Michael Knowles Public Health Protection Pledge was going around members of Congress and the congressional candidates around the country. All of a sudden, Dr. Fauci disappears from public view. I said, don't you think that he's gone forever? He is going to come back. They are going to bring back COVID before the midterm elections. And what do you know? Here comes Dr. Fauci admitting that maybe the vaccines haven't been totally super duper effective so far, and that's why we've got another round of COVID.
There's no doubt that the vaccines themselves, particularly vaccine plus a booster at the appropriate time when you become eligible for a booster, for more than one booster. If you're over 50 years old, you get eligibility for 2 boosters. One of the things that's clear from the data, that even though vaccines, because of the high degree of transmissibility of this virus, don't protect overly well, as it were, against infection, they protect quite well against severe disease leading to hospitalization and death. And I believe that's the reason, Neil, why at my age, being vaccinated and boosted, even though it didn't protect me against infection, I feel confident that it made a major role in protecting me from progressing to severe disease. And that's very likely why I had a relatively mild course.
The vaccines don't work, which is why you need to get more vaccines to protect yourself against the virus that the vaccines don't protect you against overly well. You follow that? My head is spinning. I love that. Listen here. The vaccines do not protect against infection overly well. You could drop the overly well. They don't protect against infection. It doesn't. Fauci got COVID. Maxine Waters got COVID twice in 2 months. The Secretary of HHS got COVID twice in 26 days, I believe it was, Xavier Becerra. A number of other very prominent people who are vaxxed and boosted. Not only are they infected, but they get infected multiple times in a very short period of time. And so now the propagandists have to move the goalposts. Fauci says, listen, look, the vaccines don't protect overly well against infection, but I promise you right now, trust me, everybody, they protect really well against it being worse. It's that phrase that everyone has to recite when they get COVID, even though they're vaxxed and boosted. They say, well, yes, while I contracted COVID, I'm so grateful that I'm vaxxed and boosted because I know, based on nothing, that had I not been vaxxed and boosted, it would have been so much worse. And the way that they get away with this is they pretend that they didn't originally tell you that the vaccines were going to stop you from catching COVID. They are memory holing all of those clips. I tried to dig them back up because I remembered that they talked about that, and I pulled up all my old links that I had for it. The links are dead. They have been burying this thing on the internet. Accounts that posted this on social media, they've killed the accounts. I had to go back to an old episode of my show to find the clips that had previously been on the internet, that had been scrubbed from the internet, in which Fauci and Walensky and Biden and all of the rest of them promised you that if you got the COVID vaccine, you would not be infected with the virus.
You're okay. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
These vaccines are highly, highly effective.
Vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick.
They're really, really good against variants.
Everyone who takes the vaccine is not just protecting themselves, but reducing their transmission to other people and allowing society to get back to normal.
Get your first shot, and when you're due for your second, get your second shot.
Our key goal is to stop the transmission, to get the immunity levels up so that you get almost no infection going on whatsoever.
When people are vaccinated, they can feel safe that they are not going to get infected.
When people are vaccinated, they can feel safe that they are not going to get infected. What are you talking about? We never told you that the vaccines would protect against infection. No, and liberals, gotta love them, they will tell you with a straight face the vaccines were never supposed to protect you against infection. No. Oceania was always at war with East Asia. They were never supposed to protect you against infection or transmission. The purpose of the vaccines was always to mitigate the risk of hospitalization or death. What about those clips of Walensky and Biden and Fauci all telling you that the point of the vaccines was to stop you from infection and that they would stop you from being infected with the virus? Well, those clips are gone, other than on this show. I challenge you to find those clips anywhere else on the internet. I don't think you will. They're probably going to scrub this episode because of that. I'm so glad you liked that clip. Now, here's what I need from you. If you haven't done it already, I need you to ring that bell. I need you to ring that bell because we are very, very close to 1 million subscribers. And I really want that gold play button that they're going to send me. They're going to send me the gold play button and then they're going to nuke my channel, right? That's inevitable. But I want the play button first. So make sure you get those notifications, ring that bell, ding dong, whatever you got to do. We'll see you next time.